Okay, so who's ever hosting, would you mind spotlighting the second instance of me in Zoom? And then people can see the cooking stuff a little bit more. So here's what we're gonna do today. We're going to make bumuelos. And the dough is really easy, super fast to put together. We've got 2¼ teaspoons of yeast. Yes, 2¼ teaspoons, 2 cups of water, about 3¼ cups of flour. Got 1½ teaspoons of sugar and a tablespoon of oil. So I'm just gonna throw this all together. Super easy, very moist dough. And so it's literally just a matter of stirring it all together and then letting it rise. So you can see, here I'll try to zoom in on this dough. Hey honey, can you hold this? I'm gonna have Andrew hold the phone for me so I can get it nice and incorporated. And I sent Rabbi Hassan a copy of or a link to the recipe. So you will all have it, but it's really just this simple. This is the dough. Just get it really nicely incorporated, all mixed together. No need to knead it. See what I did there? And once it's nicely incorporated, just like that, we're just gonna cover it with a piece of saran wrap or a towel and let it rise for, say, at least an hour, but you really can let it go much longer than that.
Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about what bumuelos are for everyone?
Yes. Bumuelos are Hanukkah donuts. They're Sephardic donuts. They are not filled with anything. They're not sufganiyot. They're bumuelos, and I think they're better than sufganiyot. And traditionally, they're topped with honey, but you can also put powdered sugar or cinnamon sugar on top. We like cinnamon sugar and powdered sugar a lot, but honey's also good. And so what we do with these are just a really nice free form donut type of thing, very squishy, soft, fluffy dough. So once this rises for, 1 hour plus, it turns into this through the magic of television. We've got this beautifully risen bumuelo dough. Look at all those nice bubbles in there. See that? Honey, can you zoom in on that? Look at those bubbles. All right. So this is the part that's a little more difficult. Okay, we're gonna fry it now. So I'm going to move my computer over here and have Andrew also have my second screen. I've got a cast iron pot of oil set to about 350. And what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna wet my hands because this dough is very sticky. So now the oil's hot and my dough is risen. I'm gonna take my wet hands and grab a little nice clump of dough. And I'm just gonna kind of form it with my wet hands so it's got a little hole in it. Throw it right into the oil. And it will puff up. So Andrew's gonna take my phone over so you can see it. Take that dough, throw it in, and so on and so forth. So a very easy process. And as much as I love latkes, these make your house not smell as much as latke. You don't get quite as much of the fry odor. It's a lot easier to get rid of. Also, pro tip, if you're frying foods and you don't want your house to smell, you can set a little dish of vinegar somewhere in your kitchen. It'll absorb the smell right up. So, as those fry, I'm going to, excuse me, honey, grab a little slotted spoon to flip them. 350. You want to do it at about 350. It's a good idea to have a candy thermometer or an oil thermometer, because if the oil's too hot, then they fry too fast on the outside and don't get fully cooked on the inside. So I just want to do about, like 4 to 6 at a time, depending on the size of your pan. Can you seems a little bright. And monster, I was wondering if you can zoom differently. So I'm gonna put a couple more in there. Yeah. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's a great view.
All right. Gotta see those things frying. Very
I'm glad
important.
I'm glad I had my dinner already, because this would be making me very hungry.
Right. Okay, so let's just check on these guys.
So I had my dinner already and I'm ready to eat them too. So there you
Yeah.
go.
All right, so let's get these. Want to get a little color, so I turned up my heat a little bit. But as you can see, they're starting to get a little gold. Still pretty blonde, but they're going nicely. That one's still a little too blonde. I don't know how well you can see the color on Zoom, but they look.
Nicole, while you're teaching all of us to make them, who taught you this secret?
No one. I taught myself. I am self-taught. No, I did them. I did them for the first time at Auntie Esther's house, though. Actually, who happens to be on this call. But I don't think anyone in my in-laws ever made these. Did you guys, Auntie Esther? Did you guys ever make these?
She definitely did.
Andrew said you didn't when you were young, and now he says you did. So I don't know who's telling the truth.
Definitely she did.
So anyway, they're still pretty blonde.
Nicole, my mother made those all the time.
Okay.
You made them.
But once she left, once we didn't have her, I started making them.
Oh.
No, you made them once.
So I looked up the recipe. I think I can't remember if I looked it up from the Sephardic Seattle, the SBH cookbook, or if I looked it up online, because one year when I was first married, I don't know, early in my marriage, I was making latkes for Hanukkah, and Andrew's like, these are just hash browns. I need some ketchup, which made me crazy because not put ketchup on latkes. And anyway, I was like, well, what Sephardic things can we make? Because I don't like jelly and donuts. I'm not into sufganiyot. And he's like, well, we should make Bumuelos. I'm like, well, what's that? And then he told me, and I had to, so I looked up a recipe. And that is what I'm sharing with you, is my years of Bumuelo experimentation that has now led to this moment. All right, so there's our first few. The first batch is usually pretty blonde, but as long as they're, crunchy, that's all you care about. And then we just take our bowls of cinnamon sugar or powdered sugar, or you can keep them plain and drizzle them with honey. Let's make a couple cinnamon sugar ones. So Andrew, if you could get in on this. We'll just put them in the bowl, shake them up, and there you go.
Nicole,
Yes,
can you put chocolate on it?
sure, why not? I'm not gonna tell you not to do that.
Okay, thank you.
What might be good is like to melt some Nutella and drizzle it on top. That might be a fun
We've done that.
experiment.
Yeah.
I've heard of maple syrup.
Oh, that would be good too.
We definitely
And
did
honey is definitely the most traditional topic.
Honey is delicious.
Yes, can't go wrong with honey. I'll do a couple powdered sugar ones too.
You make those next time you come back to Minneapolis?
Yes.
Okay,
I would
thank you.
love to. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
It's
I'm
Amos.
I'm going to comment in our chat box from one of our members, Hem, that this is something very common done in Mexico, a similar dish for festivals, particularly the end of the year. And
Okay.
it's called, I'll see if I can pronounce it correctly, and Hem, otherwise, please help me, but they call them Bumuelos.
Bumuelos, yeah. Similar. See, there's the connection between Ladino and Spanish. So there you go. So that's a Bumuelo. And I'm gonna fry some more, but it's really simple. They're super easy. So I hope you make them because they're fun.
How many calories are these?
I'm sure there's lots of nutrients and vitamins and
A
protein.
Hanukkah calorie is a holy calorie.
And you'll just run it all tomorrow around.
How many Bumuelos do you need to have to fulfill the mitzvah of
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah?
I'm gonna need the Rabissa to comment on that one.
I got 2 batches here, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. We have our pod here, our COVID pod, and they're gonna get to enjoy these Bumuelos tonight.
Nicole, we might all want to be becoming part of your COVID pod.
I would love that.
Number.
Cooking for people, right?
Does anyone have any more questions for Nicole as we're wrapping up this this Bumuelo part of the program?
See, the dough is very sticky, so really just be prepared for that.
I think it's interesting to note, as somebody had shared, there's a traditional one that made in Mexico. So donuts of a different variety, such as Bumuelos or Sphinge, is a very common Hanukkah food in different Sephardic communities, and it has different names in different communities and slight differences in how they're made, but it is a common and exciting way to celebrate Hanukkah.
Yes, it is. Can't go wrong with a donut.